Hello, this is Paul with Logix Workshops. Today I want to share with you a few best practices when troubleshooting um, an automated system. Now, we're talking about best practices. I'm not going to get into, electrical wiring and reading prints, just some conceptual ideas for you to most certainly start following. Here's the thing, I'm sharing with you the best advice I have after many years of traveling halfway around the world working on projects. If you're not following some of these best practices, I highly encourage you to start using them. Some may seem familiar, some may be new. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. So the first one that we're going to talk about is note taking. So this, if you've been around for a while, back in the 80s in particular, we would have notepads. I think I got one of my notepads. It had like 17 pages of notes for edits and changes and just scribbles that I made while working on a project. The problem with that is it becomes overwhelming. A big mess is what it ends up becoming. It may feel handy at the moment, and it does. But if you look at those notes that you'll take, and then you'll look at them a day or two later, and you'll still have trouble trying to find the notes and trying to understand them. So I wanted to take a few minutes and say, here's a best practice. One of the best things for you to do is to use a software program called Evernote. Now, there are many of them out there, note-taking softwares. So I have a paid account for Evernote, and in there you can create different notes. Now, I haven't actually. I use a different app for one of a project I was working on, but I took some notes here while working on something. Anyhow, I'm going to share with you what's great about this is one, I can have a project name, and I can have my notes here. And what's great is I can close this and then type right up in here and search and type in the notes that I want, a wrong, a routine, or anything of that nature. It'll look through the entire project and it'll pull it up. And if you're smart, you've dated it. So here I have a date. This is my date, right? And we're going to talk a lot about notes and move on to some other things. But what we have here is the way my shorthand is this. That's R1 is routine one is the main routine, rung 12, and my address is 036.8. Now we all know that we will have an instruction that would read like this with our parentheses, right? But in order to make it simple for me to be able to just quickly type this stuff out, I don't use the brackets. I'll use a dot, right? A period right here, and I'll just put that right there, and that tells me what I need to know on routine one. And I write the name sometimes, unless it's a small routine program, I'll write the name just so I'll remember, right? Because R15, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was false, right? But I'm kind of guessing here. And again, I just made some notes here from some other notes, so I just kind of threw something in here. But I want to know what that routine is. Regular R with no uh, uh, lowercase letter is the routine. So routine 15 false. Now I could put routine false. I could put routine 15. You can put just false if you want. Okay. But what makes this easy is when I'm searching, I just put in the routine number or the name, and I have both. Okay. I have my address here, 036 element 15, right? And I have a note here, energize, right? So that could be my OTE, right, etc. Whatever my instruction is going to be. It could be my output, right? In this case, and I don't remember what it was, but like I said, I just threw some quick notes up here from some other notes. So energize. So rung 15 false, 036 element 15s. energizes the output, right? So R21 036 element 0 output to 035. So I have a story right here. This is telling me in just these two some information. So home, the home screen, right? This here was for the HMI, speed, in cycle manual. So this was telling me where to look on the HMI. Now I did not type in here HMI. Okay. Oop, oop. So if I write HMI, then I know the home screen, right? Speed, and in cycle manual, right? So I can, this tells me right there what I need to know. In the manual HMI screen, main home, this main home is the address is on 125 element 6, right? So this tells me I was looking for something right here. Okay, so on the manual HMI manual, and truthfully, as I said, I just kind of threw something up here. These aren't my original notes. Um, but HMI manual screen, right? Manual screen. And I generally wouldn't even put down the word screen. I would take the HMI manual screen. Main home is a button or a section there of the screen, and there's the address. So the main home. Auto outputs, rung 7, routine 12, high speed outputs, routine 3, auto routine, right? Rungs 56 and rung 57, air blast timer. So this becomes my little shorthand that I can use to keep my notes, and they're quick and easy to be able to refer back to them as opposed to handwriting them. So you can use Evernote. You can use Notepad as well. Just it's on your desktop, and often I will do that, and then just transfer notes into Evernote at the end of the day or something of that nature. I'll save it for the date, and then I'll make my notes, and then I can just copy over if I want. If I just want to get something up really quick and easy, I can just open up Notepad, or I can open up my Evernote. Your choice. I'm just giving you some quick examples, something I'm just throwing together real quick to share with you some ways to do it. This is a routine, a best practice I highly recommend. Writing your notes in a digital note-taking app. Best advice I can share with you on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to version control. This is critical, because what's going to happen over time is you are going to end up with an extraordinary amount of revisions, right? And so something like that might look like something like this. After just a week or two, a couple of weeks, there could be tons of different changes that have had needed to be made, or day-to-day saving versions from day to day. All right, this was an older thing here, but anyhow, what we have here is we have dates, and that becomes important. I can get my most recent date, and just by hitting this here, the most recent savings, 12, 20, 22, I did some work on this project, right? So I have that info right here, and it's going to be very important. If you don't put dates here, this is going to bite you in the butt. Just really important that you maintain at the end of every day, you save a copy of your project. Very important. And more, even in addition to that, is as you work with many different projects over the years, then I'm going to try and find a file here for it to share with you. But what's going to happen is you're going to end up with so many different types of projects, so many different types of programs, that it's going to be monumental. I mean, this is a quick glance of years of savings of projects that I've worked on, and to say the least, not being able to have a good documentation of that will become a critical problem. I'll put it to you this way. this is so important that I did not follow my own advice recently, and I have misplaced a file, and now I have to dig through my files to find this one. So it's one of those things where you got to create the habit, and then you got to follow the habit consistently, no matter what, or you're going to lose files. All right. Okay. So very important, version control, code modification, etc. will help you save you. It'll save your butt. I'm just here to tell you. All right. And then make copies. I have multiple places I save my files to. So you're going to want to back them up. One time I lost a hard drive and thought I lost all those backups, see all those files, decades of backups of files that I would have lost. Luckily, I had them saved at another spot, but I'm even more diligent now than I was in the past. And I have room for improvement on file savings, right? Okay, now here we're going to talk about trending. If you do not know how to set up a trend, and I'll be honest with you, not even too long. I didn't really do a whole lot with trends. I didn't just didn't use them. But as the projects got more complicated, you need to be able to set up a trend very, very quickly, right? So let's take a look. I did a video of a trend, and I did a desktop screen capture of a trend to kind of just share with you. This is a little while back. I was saving it for another reason, but I thought this is great. I have this video to share with you exactly. And I didn't start it at the beginning. It's like 13 seconds or so, about a minute. But on the left-hand side, we're looking at live logic on a machine. This is during a real-world troubleshooting situation, right? So I'm watching monitoring code here, but I really want to pay attention to the trends. All right. So basically, these are my tags here, right? They're color coded, right? And I am watching the code and watching for the trend. I'm looking for timing on the tags, right? That's what I'm looking at. What tag is hitting first at what time? All our times are down here at the bottom, as you've seen, right? So the bottom of our trend. Now we've seen our tags fire and get triggered right there, right? So we can tell blue, that's our automatic cycle 035 dot zero, right? And let's see if I think there was another trend that came up right there. And so now I have my trends. I had it started. I know when it started, I know when it stopped, which one fired, which one didn't. So setting up trends is real important. I highly recommend setting up trends, even when you don't need to, just as a way to practice. Okay, I highly recommend that. Because the last thing you want to do is learn how to set up a trend when you need it and other people are watching. All right. So if you don't have that practice, get on it, practice it. I'm just telling you from personal experience. These are the things that need to happen. Okay, screenshots. And there's several different ways. So I believe in a screen recorder. Now, right now, this is being recorded off Zoom, but you can use screen record. That's a quick and easy one. And of course, your screen capture. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can use, you hit your Windows and your print screen button on your keyboard, and that will take a snapshot of your screen. That's really important. Windows 10 also has the snip and sketch. I use that a ton, a ton of different times for different things. So it's a really valuable. And find a screen record, practice, get a screen record software. There's a ton of them out there. Zoom, you can do 45-minute screen record for free. So get out there, find it, practice it, set it up so that you can use a screen record when it's necessary, because that time will come when you need to record something happening on your screen. Now, trending is very helpful, but recording this in a video also helps in another additional way, right? So I do a screen record. We can study the info. We of course have the trend, but I like seeing the code recording the screen as well. Now I could also have a camera window here, so I could see the physical world, and I could watch my trend and record the whole thing. So there's a lot of different things you can do, but this type of documentation on projects really important. All right. So technical documents, and I'll make this simple. If you don't like technical documents, get over it. Start opening up technical documents. And the biggest thing about technical documents is just getting comfortable enough to know where to look inside the technical document. Now, you are likely not going to need all of that information. You just need to know where to get the piece of information that you need and then to be able to decipher it. Very important. Okay. Technical documents are your best friend because I will tell you this much. Having been overseas several times, the tech support at times is not near as good as you can get in the States. Of course, that depends on the platform. I use Rockwell, but depending on the platform and the language that you're comfortable with, but the technical support can sometimes not be the best. So you're going to spend a lot of time pouring through technical documents and reading help files and reading online web forums, which is our next uh, well, we have teamwork actually next, but um, this becomes really important. Your information, a lot of the information is going to be found in technical documents, but a lot of new people have a resistance to them because they are technical, obviously, and there's so much of it, and they don't know how to um, how to take your time, sort through that information. There's only one way to do it is you've got to start opening them up and start studying them. They're really not that bad once you get used to them. In addition to this, you need teamwork. You've got to, at some point, you got to swallow your pride and call for help. Have somebody else take a look at what you're doing and ask them their opinion about what you're looking at. Right? What do you see? This is what I see. What do you see? And it's a very hard thing to do, especially when you're new, to ask for help. But truthfully, it's probably the only way you're going to get through it. Now, there's a fine line between having them do your work for you and them identifying something, a gap, a piece of information you may have overlooked, something through your training, something that you are not observing in the code. So, very important. Ask for help. Now, you got tons of help online. You got plctalk.com, right? You've got your technical support services that you can call if you have that subscription. You've got that support, online technical support. But the biggest thing is this: when you call for help, all right, it's very hard because what's going to happen is you're going to be under some anxiety, all right, and you're going to put it out there, and you're going to hope that somebody can help you. Here's what I recommend you do: step back and answer the who, the what, the why, the when, the where, the how, right? Get as much information collected, right? Ask yourself these questions. You know, what is happening? What is the software that I'm having? What is the version? What is the version control? What are the hardware devices? Get the specs of the hardware devices. Gather all this information, and before you go to ask this question, it's really helpful to put a lot of this information on there so that when you're asking a question, you don't the people who are willing to help you online don't have to do a mental gymnastics to try and understand what it is you're asking. The more information you give them, the better. If you have a video, you have screenshots, right? Hardware setup, software configurations, get as much of this information as possible beforehand, before you ask. If you expect to be able to just throw a question out there and they're going to be able to quickly answer and get it back to you, you're highly mistaken. Gather the information, take your time, gather the information, write it all down, and then thoroughly think through the question you want to ask. Ask yourself, read it, reread it, make sure that it makes sense and that you've provided as much information and or are ready to provide as much information as possible. Because the last thing you want to do is upset somebody who's volunteering their time to help you. All right. Think it through. There's some great resources, some awesome people. If you've taken online training in the past. Reach out to them and see if they'd be available or they could quickly answer a question for you. And if they don't have the if they don't have the time, ask them if you could hire them for an hour to take a look at a problem. I'm sharing this with you because the answer is this. If you don't know the answers, you've got to find someone somehow, some way to help you solve this problem because you don't have the option not to solve it. That's your job. Your job is to solve problems. And the answer's out there and somebody can help you. But you need to gather all of the information. You need to ask intelligent questions. You need to go slow, take your time, and then find somebody online that would be willing to help you. And then be grateful for that support. Okay. So I've tried to throw a lot in that, but teamwork's not just the people that you work with, but it's all your online resources, former mentors, former training course instructors. There's a lot of resources out there. All right. Okay. Again, online resources, that's what I want to talk to you about, right? This is what we're talking about. There are a lot of resources. PLCtalk.com is one of my most favorite websites to go to. It's a forum, online forum that you can ask. There's a large variety of expertise. There are some people on there who's some of the brightest, most smartest people you'll ever be able to work with. And again, go slow, think through the question, get as much information as possible that in the post regarding the question so that they can quickly take a look at it and say, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right. Okay. Well, my friends, we have come to the end of our little video, but I wanted to encourage you to think through all the different ways that you can get support, that you can make life easier. This is just some ideas that I had off the top of my head that I think are incredibly valuable. And if you really look at this, no matter what your your experience in controls, you're going to use one, if not all of these resources. Actually, a senior engineer is going to use every one of these resources, every one of them depending on, I may not need to go to plctalk.com, but I definitely use the technical support at the time. I definitely use trending. I definitely ask other engineers for their opinion to look over something for me. These are practices that I still use to this very, very day. All right. So anyhow, this is Paul with Logix Workshops, and I'm excited to share this this information with you on troubleshooting best practice. Okay, I will talk to you guys soon. Feel free to go to the website. We got a few new things going on there that might be of help to you. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you later. Bye.